question for today: what's not working in copywriting the way that it used to? And this again is based on a lot of testing. 16 years for me, 8 years of launch copywriting for Rye across lots of clients, campaigns, and industries again and again. So the question is, does persuasion change, right? Like, that's the premise we have to at least address before we can move on. Is there a need for a 2020 playbook for persuasion for digital marketers? Well, the question of does persuasion change? One, is reciprocity alive in anonymous online environments? When's the last time you gave and gave to an audience only to have them take and never tell you a single thing? I mean, I remember there was a story of a young adult fiction writer who got she's a huge writer, I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, but she had her second book deal canceled because sales were low. The problem is that she had so many followers and so many fans that were reading her stuff. And one of them, famously, in this little world at least, tweeted to her and said, like, I love your stuff. I've never bought a book, though. I just read the pirated or the downloadable ones. And it's like, well, you love my stuff, but you won't spend $8 or $6 on the Kindle ebook version of it. I often wonder, especially for digital marketers who are involved in content, whether reciprocity is actually a thing. Is it really alive in anonymous online environments? Cialdini's book Influence talks about offline environments. We don't see a lot, or even I can't even think of any examples about reciprocity in a digital environment, this online space where you can take and take and take, and no one ever knows that that's what's happened. When did you last see commitment or consistency work? So it's a really nice idea, this idea that when you say you'll do something, you'll do something. But I think we can all think of far more examples, not just because of biases that we have in thinking of those examples, but there's so many examples of people saying they'll do something and then not doing it, that you can declare it to other people and still not do it. When did you actually see it work last? When someone said they would do something, especially online, when your customer, when your visitor said they would do something and then they did it. It's extremely rare. And have fake likes and comments numbed us to social proof. I was doing user testing on copyhackers.com the other day, and someone saw a bunch of logos and said, it wasn't logos, it was testimonials. And they said, in the user testing recording, they were like, oh yeah, well, but these people aren't even real. I could do a reverse Google image search, he said, and I would find that these names don't match these faces, the pictures of the people who gave the testimonials, and they 100% do. But so many fake likes and so many fake comments have numbed us. We can sufficiently say that a good number of people are numbed or getting number 2 social proof. So what else are we dealing with? We care about ourselves more than ever. Now, I actually read something that said, like, I've been doing a lot of reading about this, and basically since forever, everybody has said the next generation cares about itself too much. The next generation is too selfish. However, there are studies to support this now. So a 2017 study in psychological science found that, or at least reported that, in economically developed countries, like the ones most of us are selling to, more affluence leads to a greater sense of self-reliance and detachment from others. So little wonder that there's not as much of a sense of reciprocity or commitment to act in keeping with the way that we said we would act, or social proof. It's not the same as it was. Weak ties, of course, are also breeding selfishness. We know more people than ever. We have 700 friends on Facebook, but you don't actually know any of them. You know a very close number of people, and when you're with them, you're on your phone or they're on their phone. And that's not always the case, but that's often the case. So there's this study out of Chicago that showed that an increase in loneliness, which we can feel with weak ties, can lead to an increase in selfishness. So the more isolated I feel, the less likely I am to act in ways that are social, that are in keeping with how my world wants me to behave. And then there's social media, of course, right? So what we're really talking about is a lot of those persuasion techniques that we know about are losing their power, they're losing their efficacy, they're dying. And to make matters worse, most of us as content creators and digital marketers have so much to do. We're constantly creating, we're promoting, that when it comes time to actually work on writing persuasive copy, if we default to these techniques that might not be working as well anymore, then what happens? What is the cost of us defaulting to those instead of learning a new playbook for increasing persuasion? So, your assets will give you the biggest ROI if you work on them now. Things like ads, landing pages, emails, and then the places where money changes hands, sales pages, pricing pages, upgrade pages, those things. So the way that they get into the funnel, the major touch points, as well as where they actually convert, amplifying the persuasive power of those assets inside of those parts of your funnel.